it's Jen from Britical Saiyans here, and today I'm going to be going through Android 13 with y'all. Yeah, no, I said y'all. So what? Deal. So on this site he counts as 13, 14 and 15. Matt's just giving me a stare because I said y'all. Y'all don't mind, do you? You're actually. So on this site it's got the auto of you choose one green or yellow Android card in your hand and discard it. When it attacks you draw 2. So you just discard 1 to get 2, so you basically plus 1. And then when your life is at 5 or less and you have Android 13 and Android 15 in your drop, you awaken this for a 1-1. So it's pretty useful, and obviously getting Android 14 and 15 in the drop is very easy because the entire deck basically revolves around it, and you've got your leader's unawakened skill to just discard a card to draw, so you can dump a 14, draw 2, dump a 15, draw 2, problem solved. So on this side we've got auto when it attacks draws, auto once per turn, when one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode is placed in its own drop area by one of your skills, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. So again, Android 13 kind of following this trend of popping something to make your opponent discard. It's nice for an Android deck because it is field removal and discard, but it's the part that I find annoying is that the discard comes after, whereas most Android decks you just discard as you play. So, and he's got the active battle once per turn. You can send 14 and 15 from your drop to your warp. You choose your leader card or one of your Android cards, and it gains 5k power for the battle. So on your leader you could go swing. Your opponent doesn't negate, you can be like, right, start with, take the 2 out, give them 5k, combo from there. Or you could do it from one of your battle cards. You could do it during your opponent's turn as well. So if they're attacking you, you could just be like, well, send these 2 to give myself a 5k shield, and then do the rest from there. So it's pretty handy. Well, there isn't any benefit to putting them in the warp, so it literally just comes down to whether you want to or not. So going to the main deck now, we've got, start with our using, which is 3 copies of Super 17 Energy Absorber. So a specified cost of 1 with 5k power. He does have a permanent that if you have 5 more Android cards in your drop, this card gains 10k power during your turn. So as long as you have the 5 in the drop, which is very easy to do, you'll have a 15k, which is fine because it will give you a bit of protection and a bit more offense. But otherwise it's just a little 5k. He's got +2 active main. You place up to 1 green or yellow Android card, then it costs 4 less from your deck to drop, then shuffle your deck. So again, set up for like your leader skill to awaken, set up for your card skills that absorb 14s and 15s in the drop, or just filter something out the deck. So, and then it's got -5 active main, choose of your opponent's battle cards and negate their skills for the turn. So obviously it doesn't get around barrier, but it means anything without barrier you can negate, and then you can use your skills to put it in rest mode and then pop it afterwards. And there's only 3 copies of this because you just need it for the start game setup. Once you've kind of got the thing going and you do your +2 and you put a couple androids in there, don't really need him. You should just either +2 to constantly filter stuff and gain markers, or if you have the 5 and you're like, I've swung with it, I've done what I need to, you could remove all 5, kill them off, and negate your opponent's battle card skills. So it's just there for setup. Late game, doesn't really matter. Okay, so for our X cards decks, I will just go through all 3 of these together. We've got 2 Crusher Ball, 2 Nimbus, and 2 Solar Flare. Bit of a squeeze on camera, but it's fine. So, let's take 1 of each for now. We're going to run 2 of each because that's all you really need. There is some kind of want to combo stuff, just to get more things in the drop. So, okay, so to start with, Crusher Ball, it's classic from set 1. It's just a counterplay. The battle card being played is played in rest mode. If they play multiple, they get both, or they all get played in rest mode. So it's just a nice little deterrent, and it's cheap to run. Nimbus. classic from set 3 that everyone's still using because it's really good for yellow. It's like one of the most staple cards in any yellow deck. So you negate the attack, then you may choose the yellow card in your hand, place it and drop. If you do, your opponent can only attack one more time with battle cards for a turn. So it's ideal when they swing their leader or their unison card because you can stop battle cards and put them down to one battle card swing. But it doesn't stop unisons or lead cards from swing. It just slows down the battle card assault. And then finally we've got the solar flare, which again counter attack, negate the attack if your leader is yellow, which we are. You choose up to one of your yellow battle cards from range cost of 2 or less and gains blocker for the turn. So this is kind of my own personal tech. I just chose to run it because I thought, you know what, I can pick a 14 or 15 in the battle area, make it a blocker, send it, and then I have it ready in the drop and I've stopped another attack. So it just gets full utility out of cards that you don't need anymore. Like on play searches, you could be like, okay, well, you've done your job, I'm not going to attack with you, solar flare, you can be a blocker. So I'd recommend it for this deck just because of being able to throw the stuff you don't need in the drop to then use in later abilities. So move on now to the battle cards. And to start with, we've got our 1-drops, which are just 3 copies of 14 The Mission Begins and Android 15 The Mission Begins. So again, just 3 of each. They're both from the extra booster. And they both just have on place. So 14 is when this card is played, look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 green or yellow Android card, then cost 4 less from among your hand, then shuffle your deck. So just your standard searcher for androids, which is really good. And then Android 15 is if your lead card is yellow or an Android 13 card, making it more viable in other decks. You can either draw a card or your opponent chooses one of their battle cards and switch it to rest mode, and if that card has an edge cost of 2 or less, you KO it. So what's good about 15 is that it can be used in yellow decks, because it does say if your leader is yellow, so you can just be like pay 1 to draw a card or pay 1 to make them put something in rest mode and pop it. But then if they decide to do that and you KO the card they've chosen, you can trigger your leader's auto to make them discard a card immediately afterwards. So, and like I said, once you've played them out, you could just use solar flare to turn them into blockers, or just combo them, get them in the drop ready for your other skills. Next we got our 2-drops. So to start with, we've got 4 copies of Android 14 and 15 target acquired. So it's got 15k, energy exhaust and deflect. Its permanent is if your leader is yellow or an Android card, you reduce the combo cost of his card in your hand by 1. So you'll have a 5k, but obviously we're playing an Android leader, so we're playing a yellow and Android leader, so you don't have a combo cost. And the best part about this is its auto skill. So if your opponent has 2 or more energy, when this card is played, you look up to 10 cards from the top of your deck, play up to 1 Android 13 card, and edge cost of 4 less, with its skills negated for the turn, then shuffle your deck. So what is really good about this is that you just play a 13. There are 4 different targets for this skill, which I will obviously show you later, but it means that on 2 energy you can get 1 of your 4 drops, and then when you go to your next turn you can activate 13 skill like 2 turns early and just kind of jump ahead, which is really useful because it means you can just start, well, winning. And afterwards, once it's done its job, you can combo it off, you can use its 15k beta, or again, you can solar flare it and make it a 15k blocker. So, just has a lot of utility, definitely has to be a 4 of in this deck. I feel like you wouldn't want any less just because you'd want to use its on-play skill maybe once or twice in the game and then just have it there as charge fodder and so on. So next we've got 3 copies of Android Troop 14 and 15. It's a very simple card, 2 cost 15k. It's got active main of you place this card in your drop from hand, if your lead is 13, you draw a card. So again, something that goes with the leader on either side. Gives us a 14 or 15 target, because even though it has both on them, it only counts as one, same as the target acquired card. But what's nice is that you can draw this and just be like, you know what, reveal, drop, draw. If you get another one, just do it again, because it's not limited to once per turn. And it gives you targets. Plus, if you want to, you could just send it off with this, because it doesn't really matter, so long as it's in the drop, it's doing its function. But obviously, if you have it in hand, just chuck it to draw a card. So, next, we've got a bit of a weird one, but I will explain. It. We've got 2 copies of Analyzer the Soaring Colossus. It's a Chaos then, just out of like normal flow. So this game set 9 is basically our perfect, like, kind of, it's our energy exhaust fodder. I'm trying to think what the word is. Just like the charge fodder for green and yellow, because it does have energy exhaust, but it also has the permanent of, if you have another green yellow multicolour card in your energy, you negate its energy exhaust in all areas, which means that so long as you have something else, maybe like another analyzer, instead of charging it and immediately going rest, you can just charge it and have it ready straight away. But it also does have active battle once per turn. You choose one green or yellow multicolour card in your hand, place it in your drop, choose one of your opponent's combo area, choose one card in your opponent's combo area and place it in your own drop area. So you just immediately kill a combo, as Analyzer does, and then you have it as like a 15k beta if you really want. I only run to 2 because I also have 2 of this guy, and he can also get rid of energy exhaust. So it's kind of the good ratio. If I was going to run 4 of him, I'd take out Analyzer. If I was going to run 4 of Analyzer, I'd take out this guy. So I'm running 2-2 as an experiment. It does work out. So I'd say if you want to include Cybernetic Console, there's a card you can play around with. Because again, Analyzer is expendable now. There's a lot of those things that are becoming expendable slowly, which is good, because it means you can open up more creativity in your deck instead of being like, oh, I require 4 of these, otherwise I can't play. So, and then for our super combos, we've got 2 Dr. Giro and 2 Merciless Strike Zangia. So, in shot, there we go. So Dr. Giro is a green yellow super combo, so it does have energy exhaust. And he also has the auto of, if your leader is green or yellow, when you combo with this card from your hand, you choose up to 1 green or yellow battle card, energy cost of 4 less from your deck, place it in your drop, then shuffle your deck. So again, it's just a way of filtering stuff to a drop to use for our skills. You can also just get rid of things you don't need. So one card I do run here is this guy. You can just get rid of it from your deck if you really want. He has a purpose in there, and I'll explain it when I come to it. But it just means anything small you can just filter to a drop and use it later on. And then Zangia is our sparking super combo. So as long as we're sparking 5 and our leader's yellow, you can use it to draw a card, which very easy to do. You're quicker to do that than you are the full life. So Zangia just seemed like a better choice as a super combo, because we could do it whilst we're on the 5 from Awakening or beforehand, because the idea of the deck is just to filter 14 and 15 to the drop to use for skills. So, sparking, make the most of it. Next, we got our other 3 drops. So we've got 2 copies of Hellfighter 17 and Neutralizer, and the 2 copies of No Opening Son Goku. So the 17 Neutralizer, it's 15k, it's counterplay, you can play him out. Permanent, during your opponent's turn you reduce its cost by 1, so it becomes a 2-cost counterplay. And then when this card is played or placed in a drop from battle by a skill, like Successor, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and negate its skills for the duration of turn. So on place you can neutralize something's abilities. When you send it off, whether it be because you have to KO one of your own cards, or you decide to use Successor and use this as part of the cost, its effect triggers. So it's really good because it's a counterplay you activate twice. as long as you meet the requirements, which is quite easy to do so. And then no opening Son Goku. During your turn, at the end of the battle after you combo with this card, if your leader is yellow, you play this in rest mode, then you choose up to one card from your life and add it to your hand. So it's a bit of Self-Awakening, should you need it. It's a combo piece that's 10k and then comes into play. And then what's great about it as well is that because it only costs you 1 to play out, it means you have a good target for successor because it's cost free and you're not spending the 2 energy, so you could go 1, play this out, spend 2 to successor it away, and give yourself a card from your life if you just want a bit of hand or you need to awaken. So next we got our 4 drops. So like I said, I've got the 2 Android 13 Cybernetic Console, and I've also got 2 Android 13 Red Ribbon Raider. So Cybernetic Console is a brand new card, it just came out in set 14 / Cross Spirits. So he's got Arrival, green yellow by paying a yellow. He's got 2 permanents, the first being if there are 3 or more Android cards in your drop area, negate this card's energy exhaust skill in all areas. So he's not a first turn charge, but he could quite easily be a second turn charge for you because you put androids to a drop, whether you're comboing, using your lead skill, using your unison, or if you have the android troop, you're chucking that just to draw a card. So it's very easy to activate. Its second one is if your leader's yellow on android, you reduce combo cost by 1, because again, 1 cost 5k combo. And then it's got active battle once per turn. You choose up to 1 green or yellow android card in your combo area, and it gains 5k combo power for the battle. So whereas Analyzer kills combos, this guy increases combos. So if you had both on the field, for example, you could take one of theirs and pump one of yours. Very nice. So, and then we've got the Red Ribbon Raider, which 4 drop 20k, does cost 2 for its combo, but I'll explain that in a second. And he has got Union Absorbed by paying a green and a yellow. So you can choose an Android 13 and an Android 15 in your drop, place them underneath. If your leader is an Android, you choose up to 1 Android 13 card, and edge cost 7 or less from your hand, and play it on top of this card. So it's just a way of getting these out really quick, because you can just place on top and put 2 underneath. And it does have the auto of if your leader is an Android card, at the end of the battle which you combo with this card, play it from your hand in rest mode. Play it from, when you combo with it from your hand, you play it in rest mode. I don't know why I said that the weird way around. I said that the wrong way around. So that's why it costs 2, because you're getting it out for half the cost. And then you can just play combo, play it out, next turn, pay 2, go into an Android 13.
Pardon me.
Thank you, Matt.
I just finished downing the Pepsi Max, didn't I?
So next we've got 2 of Android 13 The Mission Begins and 2 Android 14 Stoic Fist. You get into a room where you just say 13, so very easy in this deck. So 13 The Mission Begins is something I'd have at 4 if I had 4. I'm just going to say it now, I don't have 4. And
if you had 4, what would you replace?
If I had 4, what would I replace? Very good question. I would... I would replace the Gokus, because... or the Red Ribbon Raider, because as much as this card is handy, you don't want to pay the 2 to play it out, and because it targets from hand, whereas the other one can target from deck, it's more useful. Or... that's pretty much it, besides... If I didn't have... okay, so if I didn't have this, I'd run the extra one of that, basically.
But if you have that, and can run extra of those.
Well then, like I said, I'd take out the...
Gokus.
The Gokus or
There we
the
go.
Red Ribbon Raider. So... I was going to say... okay, and then... so he's got Energy Exhaust Unique Double Strike, Arrival Green Yellow by paying a green. His auto is what makes him really good, because at the start of your opponent's turn, they choose 2 of their battle cards and KO them. So because it's their choice, you can get things killed off with barrier. They have to wipe out 2 before they do anything else. And then of course they will lose battle cards, which means you can trigger your leaders auto to make them discard a card at least once. So you're popping 2, making them drop a card, and then you've just got a 20k beta ready to go. And then he also has the active main of pay 1, send this from your drop to your warp, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an edge cost of 3 or less, and KO it. So if they do kill it off, you can still blow something up and get your leaders auto off.
If your number exists.
If you remember to do it. I forgot to do it, so don't do that. Always use it. It's very good. And yeah, run more if you have more. So, but I've managed with 2. There's ways to play it from the deck, so can't complain too much. And then we've got Android 14, Stoic Fist. It's very easy to get muddled.
Only if you're puddled.
God damn. So it's got, that was just terrible. It has got 15k, doesn't matter. Its power could literally be 12, I wouldn't care. Because you just use it for its active main. So if you lead an Android 13 card and you choose this card in your hand and one Android 15 card and place them in your drop, choose up to 2 cards in your life, add them to your hand, draw a card, then the opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and places it in the drop. So Self-Awakening, because you can take the 2 from your life, you can take 1, you draw a card so you're always getting a card, like cards back, and then you make your opponent discard a card, which again, just androids. What they do. So it's very useful. I do feel like you only need the 2 in the deck because essentially you only have to play 1 out. The other one can just be fodder for whatever you need it. So, and if you can get it early game, you're golden. If not, you'll manage fine. I did. So yeah, it's very nice and definitely only needs to be a 2 of in the deck, I feel. And next we got our final 4 drop, which is 3 copies of Dawn of Terror Android 13. He's got 20k, he's got Union Absorb, so you choose 1 Android 14 and 15 from your drop, place them underneath this card, choose up to 1 Android 13 card, then it costs 7 from your deck, play it on top of it, and then shuffle your deck. So whereas Red Ribbon Raider goes from your hand, this one goes from your deck, which is very useful because you can just filter cards out your deck instead of playing them from your hand. And then when this card is played, your opponent chooses 1 of their battle cards and KOs it. So again, they choose, gets around barrier, triggers this, they discard a card. And I feel like this is the better way to play out the 7 drops because it takes them from the deck. And it's cheaper than Ribbon Raider, which requires 2 energy, whereas this is just pay 1. So if you've done this one, the target acquired, and you found that, you play it out, next turn, you charge and just go, right, for 1 energy, I'm just going to jump straight into a 13. Done. So you just make a very quick and easy play on your 3rd turn. Next we're going into our 7 drops, which is kind of our big bulk of the deck. Well, our main cards for the deck, shall we say. We've got 3 copies of Android 13 Adamantine Avenger, and I can just share this alongside. We've also got 3 copies of Super 13 Calls of the Trio. So these are our big guns of the deck, besides the secret, but that's a secret. So this one has 30k double strike successor by paying a green and a yellow. Hence the fact we have some cards that can just, well, that's where the Goku comes in handy because it's a free cost. That's where 17 comes in handy because you can trigger its effect by playing it with a successor. And he's got active main once per turn if your leader is an Android 13 card and you choose 3 Android cards in your drop area and place them on the bottom of your deck in any order. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, then your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hands and places them in their drop area. So you pop something with rest, make them discard 2. If it's the first time you've popped something with rest, they discard 3 because of your lead skill. And you put cards back in your deck so you don't have to worry about decking out. which is what makes this guy really useful, because it's just popping stuff, making them drop a bunch of cards, and you get some cards back in your deck, so you don't have to worry about decking out because you're constantly sending stuff to your draw. And Super 13 is 30k, energy exhaust, deflect, and triple attack. So whereas this guy can attack once for double, he can attack 3 times, essentially being a triple strike if each attack goes through. He also has successor for a green and a yellow, like this one. And much like some of the other cards, he reduces combo costs so long as your leader is yellow or an android, because he's a 5k combo. And its auto is, if your lead card is an android 13 card, when this card attacks, your opponent chooses one of their battle cards and KOs it. So the auto is not once per turn. Every time you attack, they have to pop something. Which is nasty, because he's got triple attack. So on 3 swings you can pop 3 things. And trigger your leader's auto at least once, if you haven't done so already. But I think a 3-3 split on these is good, because they are both very useful. And you don't want to overfill the deck with them, because you can play them from the deck, so there's a high chance if they're at a lower number. But it all comes down to preference. You might decide to not run the Adamantine Avenger or the Super 7 at 13. I was going to say 17. Just yeah. And finally, the last card of the deck, because I own it, we have Cell Xeno, Unspeakable Abomination, who's now had an errata, so that the quad strike is part of the auto. Yay! It's got 40k ultimate, because it's secret rare, deflect, energy exhaust, successor, for no cost, so just having battle card cost of 12. And then his auto is, if you have 5 more energy, when you play this card, choose 3 cards in your opponent's hand, place them in a drop area. You choose blindly, they don't reveal. And then this card gains dual attack and quadruple strike for the turn. So it's very much an end game card, because you can just attack twice for quad strike and make them dump 3 cards. So if you don't have it, like I said, you could run another of the 7 drops, you could run a 3rd copy of the what's his name? The Android 13, the mission begins, I think it is?
The full cost.
Yeah, I have to specify which one, because there's all the 13's full cost. Yeah, the mission begins. You could run a 3rd of that, or your 4th one, if you've already got 3 in the deck. It's completely down to however you want to build it, but obviously because I have access to it, I will use it. So, and there we are. That is the Android 13 deck profile. So thank you very much for watching. Leave all your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!